We always have a blast chatting with our guests about all sorts of different topics, but sometimes we go off the rails and dig deeper into their automotive and motorsports pasts. As a bonus, let's go behind the scenes with this pit stop minisode for some extra content that didn't quite fit in the main episode. Sit back, enjoy, and remember to like, subscribe, and support Break Fix on Patreon. Well, you already answered some of them. If you could buy any car on the market today to drag race and stock trim, what would it be? Tesla Roadster.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Tesla
We hit
Roadster.
that. We nailed that one.
I just want the fastest production vehicle ever made. That would have to be in my garage if I had an unlimited budget. And then I got probably 50 other cars that if I had more garage space, I would want to have. But
we've all had the privilege of enjoying and watching the Fast and the Furious. So my big question is, how many times do you actually shift gears in a quarter mile?
Well, according to the show, like 13 over a period of 29 seconds or so.
Yeah, right?
I don't even know. But
is there danger to your manifold, right? That's
yeah.
So what was on your wall as a kid then, other than a poster of a large-chested woman in front of a Fiero that Brad had?
Oh, man, I had the Lamborghini Countach.
Yeah! I'm just going to put a picture of a Countach up on Instagram with the hashtag that says men of a certain age, and then that's it. You just get it.
If you didn't have that poster, you weren't into cars. If you didn't have a Matchbox car, then I don't know what you were doing. What else was there? And I can't remember if it was the Ferrari F-150. That was the other one that was super popular. It might not have even been
the F40.
Yes, that's what it was. And then it was funny because when I was in my early 20s, I saw a guy in our area driving one around fully restored, like brand new. And I remember thinking, man, that's like the Matchbox car I used to have. And that's the poster I had on my wall. 70-year-old man driving it around. It was badass.
It was really a Fiero with a body kit, but we'll go on from that, so it's okay.
That's my Ferrari. That's what I have.
Since you're an LS guy, we bring this up a lot, and I don't know why we're so fixated on it. Maybe because it just doesn't make sense. I'm going to pose the question like this. It's very simple. C8 Corvette. What do you think?
I like it. The aftermarket following hasn't caught up. Much harder, much more expensive to make the same amount of power. Right now, there's pretty much nothing that beats the LS-based motor in terms of dollar per horsepower up to about 1,500 wheel horsepower. Once you get above 1,500 wheel horsepower, then it's just a money game. You're going to spend money no matter what you have. But up to that point, and especially up to about 1,000 wheel, there is just nothing that touches that platform for the money. We are taking these things literally out of the junkyard, out of cars, putting junk turbo kits together on our own and going out making 1,000 horsepower all day long. I mean, it's just that simple. And that's why the drag racing world, especially the no prep drag racing world, has become so popular. Just 20 years ago, when that motor first came out and nobody knew anything about it, everybody at the drag strip was going so much slower. 10s was incredible. I remember that was my goal. Like, I could just break the 10s, I would be cool. For example, we talked about Fast and the Furious earlier. Dom was talking about that car running 10s. You owe me a 10-second car and 16 gears and all that shit. But
it's like a tractor trailer.
Yeah, it's like 10-second car to everybody back then was like, that was fast. Now you can literally take a shit bucket, put it together for like 15,000 and you can run 8s with it. It is a legit thing and it happens all the time. There's never been a time in all of hot rodding where your average Joe was able to build something that was even close to what the big dogs are capable of, which I don't know if you consider 8s nowadays big dog, but 1,000 horsepower. It is just way above and beyond what your average commuter car or even your average sports car is capable. There's no comparison yet. There are a couple motors that are close. Coyotes are pretty good for the money. And honestly, if you were to slap certain 4-cylinders into a Fox body chassis, you'd probably give a couple of these V8s a run for their money. There's other stuff out there. So everybody doesn't have to have an LS to go fast. It's just nothing beats it dollar per horsepower. That's it.
And if you want to win, you do.
Yeah. I mean,
for you, the car is a tool. You want to go fast. You want to win. It doesn't matter. You could be doing it in a Pinto. Who the hell cares?
He's Ricky Bobby. He's Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast. I want to go fast.
Wants to go fast.
You ain't first to last, buddy. That's all that matters. I don't care if you do it on a scooter or if you do it in a freaking hot rod. It doesn't matter as long as you get across that finish line first.
So then you've already answered the question then. Like the best motor that's not an LS-based motor, would that be the Coyote?
I would say Coyote would probably rank up there. There's a couple other motors, 2JZ, the super motors, they do pretty well in stock form, but because a lot of the parts have to be outsourced, and I'm sure there's a lot more companies in the US now compared to 10 or 15 years ago, like when I used to work at Altered Atmosphere and we were building those things and we had to get camshafts imported from Japan or China or wherever. That stuff got expensive fast. And then the top dogs, they're all using billet blocks and billet heads now, which again, crazy expensive stuff. So like when you see these Supras running 6 seconds in the quarter, or some of them are even running high 5 seconds in the quarter, which is just crazy out of a 6-cylinder. But, you know, they're not doing it with some junk ass supermotor that they got out of a junkyard. That's a fully built high dollar deal. Even in the LS world, to go that fast, it's going to be an all billet deal. And that stuff is way out of my price range. That's why, again, no prep stuff is so popular. It appeals to the masses, whereas this track racing stuff gets so expensive so fast. If you're not rich, you can't do it. You know, they say about racing is it can make you a millionaire, but only if you started off as a billionaire.
I mean, and to your point about motors, I mean, in the German world, you don't see too many Porsches drag racing and stuff, but the VR6s are super popular for drag racing. For whatever reason, those motors are overbuilt from the word go, and guys love boosting the hell out of them and building drag cars with those things. And even the early motors, which don't flow that well, they'll take a 12 valve and make 1,000 horsepower. And it's like, yeah, whatever, who cares? You know, for a little VW motor, right? That was supposed to be in an Econo box.
Yeah, we built a couple of those when we were at Altered Atmosphere. They were pretty popular back then, too.
They still are. I mean, I'm seeing stuff on Instagram and whatever where they're putting VR6s in anything. If it's got ignition, it's got a VR6 attached to it, you know?
Yep. Yeah,
I mean,
there's more than one way to skin a cat for sure. And I just can't even imagine myself personally ever being brand loyal because there's just so much cool stuff out there. Even like what I was talking about between the gas and electric stuff. I hated electric stuff, but only because I thought they were just slow turds. And it was like, you know, you think of electric, you think of like a Prius or something or a Volt. You don't think of a hot rod when you think of electric cars. But if you get in a Tesla that has ludicrous mode and you mash that pedal to the ground on a regular street, it'll change your mind. They're impressive cars, especially for drag racing. I don't know if they're real popular in the road race world. I'd imagine probably not. For drag racing, I definitely see the potential in them. It's just nobody's really making the type of car yet that would do well in the drag racing world that's electric based. It's going to happen. It's coming.
So let me ask you, as a legit drag racer, what's your opinion of front wheel drive, what we like to call it around here? Front wheel drive. What are your thoughts?
Front wheel drive. Ugh.
And can it be competitive drag racing?
In its own class.
Yeah, like World Cup Finals is definitely a good showcase for front wheel drive stuff. But at the end of the day, the front wheel drive is always going to be a disadvantage, which is why now the Civic guys, a buddy of mine, he owns a shop called Hub City Performance, and he's developed an all-wheel drive unit for Civics that he sells now. That he's using like parts of a CRV, I believe is what he's using. And he's creating these all-wheel drive kits that are just selling like hotcakes. He used to race at World Cup front-wheel drive, and he did very well. You know, he had a mid 8-second car, and those things, they back half like crazy. There's no other car on the planet that back halves like those things. Yeah, they run mid-8s, which might not be considered, you know, the fastest thing out there at the track, but they're doing it at almost 200 miles an hour. Some of those cars are going over 200 miles an hour in the quarter with front wheel drive. You know, we all know they don't leave the line that hard. So they're playing catch up, and it's cool to watch them because I used to race with them. Like when I won my class at World Cup in 2012, my car, if I remember correctly, I was only trapping in like the 150s. I might have went like a low 160 at some point. I don't really remember. But the guys that I was racing that were front wheel drive, he trapped 194 in that same class to run the same time. So it's just different. And I'd imagine if there was even another 200 feet onto the back of the track, those things would be damn near unstoppable. I mean, they're just crazy fast up top in terms of drag racing applications, simply because the longest drag race that you'll ever hear of typically is quarter mile. So they're not going to do real well there. But, you know, my buddy that made this all-wheel drive kit made those Civics awesome. And he's been racing in the no prep world also, doing very well. His car is awesome, man. You should see that thing.
We could probably get Daniel interested in coming with us to go out to that if we wanted to.
You'll bring a square body and a banjo. That's what's going to happen there.
Well, one of his fleet.
And the best part is he's a bow tie man through and through, and you'll never convince him to LS swap a square body. I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me at all. Some guys just literally refuse to LS swap something because it's been overdone. And I get it.
Well, here's the best part, as just a side note, just because we got an extra minute. He hates BMWs, flat out. Enough said there. He has a 325 IS that he bought, a 95, I think it is. And I was like, oh, yeah, the LS swap, just do it. He's like, no, I'm putting in a 4.3. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
LS based?
Like, what?
LS based?
4.3. I'm like, really?
You know the problem? He had it lying around. That's why.
Yeah.
He had a 4.3 lying around.
That's where a lot of terrible swaps come from. Well, I had it. Well, you know, I had a lot of things that, sucked, and I didn't use them.
The way he's looking at it is, and this is the justification, because I get on his ass about it all the time. He's like, well, it'll make more power than the stock BMW motor.
But you're spending 10 grand to do a swap to get 50 more horsepower.
I don't know.
I shake my head at a lot of these cars I don't understand, and especially the brand loyal guys. The Ford guys are the worst. Even in the no preps, they're like, oh, I bleed blue oval till I die. And I look inside their car and I'm like, is that a 2-speed shifter? And they're like, yeah. Do you happen to have a power glide transmission in this car? And they're like, yeah, why? You're a Ford guy. You just said you bleed blue oval till you die, but you're running a GM transmission. Oh, that doesn't count. It's like, yeah, that definitely counts. Yeah. You're using what works. Just admit it. You know, you're an LS hater. You probably got beat by one, which, now you just absolutely refuse to use one, and you're going to die wanting to beat them with any other platform. Good luck.
If you like what you've heard and want to learn more about GTM, be sure to check us out on www.gtmotorsports.org. You can also find us on Instagram at Grand Touring Motorsports. Also, if you want to get involved or have suggestions for future shows, you can call or text us at 202-630-1770 or send us an email at crewchief@gtmotorsports.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey everybody, Crew Chief Eric here. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Break Fix, and we wanted to remind you that GTM remains a no annual fees organization. And our goal is to continue to bring you quality episodes like this one at no charge. As a loyal listener, please consider subscribing to our Patreon for bonus and behind-the-scenes content, extra goodies, and GTM swag. For as little as $2.50 a month, you can keep our developers, writers, editors, casters, and other volunteers fed on their strict diet of Fig Newtons, gummy bears, and Monster. Consider signing up for Patreon today at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. And remember, without fans, supporters, and members like you, none of this would be possible.